Hello again, Glammiewitch. We're back into part 2 now, and I'm going to carry on as I was doing before, going through some different stones. You'll be relieved to hear there are fewer of them this time, and we're going to try to bang through them, and then I'm going to get into the good stuff, which is ways in which you can use them. So, the first stone that I'm going to show you in this part is Lapis Lazuli. I do love the name of this stone. And what you've got with Lapis is that it is this dark blue colour, and it really is quite a rich royal blue that we've got here. And it's an interesting stone because the colour-wise it has these little sort of flecks of grey going through it, but there's also little bits of kind of, I suppose, almost gold in in it as well. There is another stone very, very similar in colour to this, which is sodalite, and that's coming up later. And the only way to really tell them apart is the colour in Lapis is slightly darker, the blue, and it has these gold inclusions, which sodalite doesn't have. Sodalite, the inclusions are white. So Lapis is a wisdom stone. It's a stone that is often associated with the third eye, Ajna chakra, and it's a spiritual insight stone because it's associated with that chakra. Obviously, it has a connection to spiritual insight and awareness. It strengthens the mind. It enhances your psychic abilities. It enables you to have a connection to your higher self and to your spirit guides. It's a great stone for truth and for judgment as well. So Lapis Lazuli is an extremely useful stone to have around. Now the next one that we have is yet another stone of connection. This is Moonstone. Now Moonstone, it's a funny thing, before I actually saw a piece of Moonstone, I actually expected it to be grey, really, and this probably is looking a little bit grey on the camera. But it's kind of interesting because it's a sort of greyish, pinkish colour. And you can probably see with this one what I've actually got. I've been very, very lucky with this particular one because it is almost a crescent moon shape. So I've been rather fortunate with this, and it does have this amazing banding. There it is, on the bottom of it as well. It's a fabulous, fabulous stone. I love it. Now, Moonstone is a calming stone again. It's connected to the lunar energies, to the more gentle energies. It gives you greater tolerance, patience, and flexibility of your attitude. As I say, it's got this connection to the moon and to the feminine energies. It enhances your intuition, which is why a lot of psychics use this stone, because of that connection to the intuition. It's a good stone for self-esteem as well, and for empathy. It's a very harmonious stone. It soothes the heart, and according to the little blurb here, it's said to ease childbirth. That's probably because, again, it's got this connection to the lunar cycles. So Moonstone is another one that is really useful. There's a lot of these stones that if you're interested in working psychically, or you're interested in really ramping up your intuition, or, the sort of the intuition of somebody that you're working for energetically, there's a lot of these stones that are very useful for that. So that's Moonstone. Now, a grounding stone. What we have here, in fact more than a grounding stone, a protection stone. What we have here, this genuinely is black, and this is Obsidian. And I must admit, it's another one I love the name of. Now Obsidian comes in a number of different varieties. You have mahogany obsidian, which has a sort of a reddish brown colour. You have the regular black obsidian. there's actually, and I'm just going to reach round. Here we go. There's actually snowflake obsidian. Now, there we go. Can you see that? The really weird thing about snowflake obsidian is that it's black, like the regular obsidian, but it has these little white blotches on it, which are the snowflakes. So you've got this kind of almost yin and yang thing going on with snowflake obsidian. And stranger still, and I don't have a piece of this, and I really would like to get some, but stranger still, there is an obsidian that is kind of like a blue, transparent colour. So it almost looks like a piece of blue glass, and it's interesting because obsidian is actually volcanic glass. So a transparent blue is, in a sense, perfectly normal for obsidian. Now, things that obsidian are connected to include, and it is one of those stones, another little name for it apparently is Apache tears, and it absorbs negative energy. It helps you to let go of the past. It's a grounding stone. It facilitates transformation and rebirth. It helps to prevent emotional draining from others, so it is a very protective stone. Extremely useful stone if you're working psychically. And the snowflake obsidian, because it has the white and it has the black, balances the male and female polarities, and it helps you to live as a whole person. It's also an extremely good stone for dispersing negativity. So obsidian is definitely, as an energy worker, a stone that you should have with you. And it is worn, and I mean, some of the little charms that you encounter with things like obsidian and also black tourmaline, which I'll talk about a little bit later, for ladies in particular, is to sort of wear a piece down the front of your bra. Obviously, you know, us gents can't exactly do that, so we have to find other ways of wearing them, perhaps in the pocket or on a little chain or whatever, but it's useful from that point of view. Now, the next one that I'm going to cover even, is Pyrite. And I've only really got this sort of chunk of it, but you'll see immediately how this thing sparkles. And unsurprisingly, it has it had the name Fool's Gold, because it was often mistaken for gold, because it's basically a chunk of rock with these little sparkly bits in that people mistook for actual gold. But pyrite is a useful stone in its own right. It is, because of the gold association, a stone of prosperity. It's a practical stone. It's another grounding and stabilizing stone. It's a good stone for harmony with others, although I'm fairly certain for those who mistook it for gold, it didn't prove particularly harmonious. It's a good willpower stone. It's great for self-confidence and for mental clarity. And I also was reading somewhere that it actually is quite good for warding off problems with electrical equipment. So, you know, I tend to have this around near my sort of computer and what have you, because it, you know, I don't want things going feet up, shall we say, with my electrical equipment. So that's pyrite. Now, the next one that we have in the list, the next one they have is quartz, but I'm going to skip over that and come back to it because I want to there's quite a lot I want to say about quartz. Now, the next one that we have is rhodonite. And rhodonite is this really interesting sort of purpley pink. There we go. If I turn it that way, you might see it more easily. It's sort of purpley pink colour. It's quite an interesting colour of stone, really. And what you have with rhodonite, it's a self-esteem stone. So here we have a stone that attracts love and friendship. It has this purpley pink colour, which does tend to be the kind of love and friendship colours. You have rose quartz, you've got rhodonite, you've got, I think rhodochrosite is a similar colour, you've got kunzite is another one that's kind of in that sort of area. It's a good one for self-confidence, for self-esteem. It calms you. Again, the pink is the feminine heart chakra colour. It is a a good one for getting rid of doubts. It restores your energy and your memory, helps to dispel anxiety, assists in attaining your potential. So it's a really, really useful stone to have around, is rhodonite. And I think it is extremely pretty as well, to be honest. Now, of course, we were just talking about, in a sense, a pretender to the throne of the heart chakra, because the next one that we have is our good old friend, rose quartz. Now, of all the stones that people can have, and are likely to have, even people who don't really work with crystals, this is one that they are likely to have around. It is a heart chakra stone. It's the feminine heart chakra stone to the masculine green aventurine. It's a stone of friendship. Opens up the heart's energies to giving and receiving. Calms the emotion. It helps with sort of everyday ups and downs. Releases stored anger. It aids forgiveness. And it gives a greater appreciation. It helps with a greater appreciation of the small things in life. It enhances your sensitivity and your tenderness. It's good for empathy and compassion. It brings out the inner beauty and the self-acceptance, and it's a good stone for happiness. So it really is kind of a do-everything on an emotional level kind of stone is rose quartz, and you'll often see them in heart shapes as well. So it's a really pretty stone and very, very useful. Now, the next one, we had the Moonstone earlier on, which is a stone connected to, obviously, the feminine energies and the moon. But there is another one that is quite useful in that regard as well, and that is Selenite, which is there. And it's another one that has these little sort of bands through it. Now, there is one warning that I would give you with Selenite, and that is that it is water soluble. So when you're cleansing your crystals, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but when you're cleansing your crystals, for goodness sake, don't put selenite in water, because you'll end up with half a crystal, and that's no fun at all. Also, from what I understand, selenite is poisonous when dissolved, so it's one of those to really be careful with. But that said, I'll go through its properties. It is a moon goddess stone. The name actually comes from the lunar goddess Selene, and it really has all of those feminine lunar associations, the clarity, the insight, the sort of gentle positivity. It's basically it's almost Moonstone by another name in some ways. But it is very, very specifically lunar connected. Now, I mentioned before about sodalite, and here it is. Now, you can see the difference with the sodalite. If I hold up the Lapis Lazuli, you can see the difference in the two stones. The sodalite is a slightly lighter colour, and it's got these white inclusions in it. And sodalite is, for me, a primary stone that I use for communication. Anything to do with communication. I even have a pendulum made out of sodalite, which is a really, really interesting thing to have, because it is very much a communication stone. It's a mental clarity stone. It's connected to the throat chakra, and it gives you greater personal insight and wisdom. It enables you to be more objective, less critical. It calms your mind, clears out old thought patterns, gives you a better perspective, brings about some attitudinal changes, and it's a good one for connecting to your higher self as well. So it has a lot of uses, and you can see again we have that white colour in this stone. So sodalite is a very, very useful stone. Now at this point, we are getting on to the last 2 or 3 stones before I mention a little bit about ways of using them. But to preface that a little bit, I'm going to show you a ring that I have, and the stone in there is Tiger's Eye. Now Tiger's Eye is, there we go, is this sort of gold coloured stone, but it has a really strange kind of phase through it. When you shine the light on it, you'll notice it is a bit like a cat's eye. You see the light sort of shimmering across it, and that's a ring that I wear. It's a gold ring, and it's one I wear quite a lot. It's a lucky stone, is Tiger's Eye. It promotes abundance. Funnily enough, the yellow stones tend to be abundance promoting, so citrine, Tiger's Eye, the yellow calcite as well. They do tend to have that sort of connection to them. They're also solar plexus chakra stones. It helps with decision making. It eases stubbornness, which has to be said, with me can be a useful thing. It helps you to see both sides of a situation, builds self-confidence, which again is the solar plexus thing, and courage, brings about the masculine warm energy. Again, that's the solar plexus connection. And it is just really a very, very useful stone to have and to use if you need any of those kind of qualities in crystal work that you're doing. Tiger's Eye is a fantastic one for that. Now, another way to wear stones is on a chain. And you can see the stone that we have here. This is turquoise. And turquoise is a stone of understanding. It's a communicator. It's blue, so it has it's the light blue as well, so it has the throat chakra connection. It's a communicator, a problem solver. It protects you from falling, and it speeds up the healing process as well. It's a good stone for relaxation, for abundance and inner beauty. It's helpful apparently for attracting new friends, and it reduces the stress and tension. And it is actually the birthstone for December. And interestingly, one little aside about turquoise is that it was a stone used an awful lot in ancient Egypt. So it's one of my favourite stones, and I must admit I do love the colour of it. We had the turquoise howlite earlier on. This is actual turquoise. It is a porous stone. Most crystals, when you hold them, you'll feel a bit of a difference. They're kind of shiny on the outside, but turquoise is not. It's quite sort of porous, so you'll definitely feel the difference there. And the last one of the tumble stones that I'm going to do is Unakite. Now, Unakite is a sort of a greenish stone, and it has these funny little grey spots in it. That really doesn't show up terribly well at all. There we go, a little bit. It's a green stone, but it has these funny little sort of greyish spots. And this is an empowerment stone. It's a stone that gives you the courage to take a chance. It releases blockages. It's good for your personal growth, and it's just really quite an interesting stone, I think. And it does look a little bit. It almost looks like a sort of marble floor when you look at it. It's quite an interesting one. So that is pretty much most of the actual stones themselves. Now, in terms of ways of using them, there's a lot of different things you can do with stones. As I say, you can, having looked at their properties, you can incorporate them on your altar as a focal point. So, something that I tend to do, if I'm doing a candle magic spell, for example, I try to have the corresponding stones around the area where the candle is burning. Obviously, not so that the wax runs onto the stones, but I sort of have them in a kind of, if you imagine the kind of stone circle kind of thing, sort of Celtic stone circle, use it, but obviously that's sort of just chunks of rock in a way, but using crystals for that purpose. So you have like a little stone circle around. That's one way you can do with them on your actual altar itself. One thing that's very worth doing, and I'm just going to show you with a piece of rock crystal, which is clear quartz. Now clear quartz, I've got a couple of these, and I'm just going to go through this. I've got a couple of these. This is a clear quartz wand. This is a rock crystal, which is a bit more matte, but it's still fairly clear. One thing you can do with them, clear quartz is a fantastic programmable stone. That's why I've left it till the end, because not only is it an amplifier for any intention. So if you've got a particular intention, say, I don't know, say somebody needs some emotional balancing and healing, and you're working with, say, green stones, obviously specific to the need that they have. You know, so it could be that they actually need a bit of sort of physical kind of well-being work done as well. So you're going with, you know, something like green aventurine, for example. So it's working on a physical and an emotional level. Or you're even going with bloodstone, and you want to really ramp it up, then quartz is quite a useful one. And what you can do with any stone that you use, but with quartz in particular, is if you put it between your palms, just focus your attention, focus your energy into the stone, and really just charge that up with your own energy and your intention of what you want that stone to do. Then obviously you can have it on your altar, you can get the person to wear it, carry it with them. If it's yourself, you can carry it with you. Obviously it's important to regularly cleanse your stones, and there's lots of ways of doing that. The classic ones are running them under water, and it needs to be running water. So even if it's sort of, I mean, a stream would be the ideal thing, but you know, how many of us have one of those running through our backyard, or even nearby? But failing that, you can, you know, sort of run, in a sense, run your cold tap and let the stone sit under that as it goes. Be aware of the stones, like I was saying before, that dissolve in water. So satin spar, selenite, salt crystal dissolves obviously because it's salt, and another salt stone, which is halite, which I don't actually have a piece of, is another dissolving stone. So absolutely do not run them underwater. But other ways that you can cleanse are, you can cleanse with the element of earth, and I use my handy dandy amethyst geode, and I place the stone on top of it and leave it for a while. And what you find is that once it's cleansed, the stone goes cold again. So it really warms up in your energy field, but once you're cleansing it, it goes cold. So you can cleanse with earth, you can cleanse certain stones with water, but obviously others you can't. You can pass it through incense, something like white sage, you know, pass it through incense smoke, that's another way of cleansing. And then, as I say, charge it up with your intention, so that you know, you have a specific intention for the stone that you're using. And there is another way that you can use them as well, which I'm just going to go into a little bit for you, which involves using a pendulum. And what you basically do is, if you imagine, say for sake of argument, well, for example, say I wanted to charge some water, let's say, because one of the things you can do with stones, and this is especially true for things like amethyst and the quartzes and what have you, one thing you can do is you can actually create crystal elixirs, and you can, the usual way to do that is to cleanse and then charge your stones and then place them in water and leave them for a while and let the energy of the stone charge the water up with its particular properties. That's an extremely useful thing to do, and a useful way to get the properties of the stone directly into your body, because obviously then you drink the water. But there are certain stones, as we said before, you can't do that with. Anything that will dissolve, anything that is poisonous, and always check if the stone that you're using has that issue, shall we say. So, let's say, for sake of argument, black tourmaline is not soluble, but let's say black tourmaline, grounding, psychic protection, releases negativity, removes negativity, very useful stone indeed. Great protective stone. Great stone for removing fears. So let's say, for sake of argument, I've got a glass of water here, and I've got my stone in this hand, my receptive hand. Now I'm left-handed, so I always treat my left hand as my projective hand and my right hand as my receptive hand. Obviously you know which way around that works for you. So you hold the stone in one hand and you basically get the pendulum going with the other hand in that sort of a way. Absorb the energy and the properties of the stone through your receptive hand, charge that and channel it through your body, down this arm, across your body, through the opposite arm and to the pendulum, which is swinging above the water that you're wanting to charge up. So then the water that you're charging, the water that you've got below here, is being charged up with the energy of the stone that's in the opposite hand. So that is also quite a useful thing that you can do with your stones. So I hope that you find these two videos extremely useful, Glammiewitch. Please do feel free to ask me any questions that you have. Ask me to go over anything that you think you found unclear, and give it a go. Crystals are extremely beautiful things, but they're extremely useful as well. So I would strongly recommend have a go. Try to get a collection of tumble stones and what have you from your local flea markets or your local occultist shops or crystal shops, whatever you've got, new age shops. They always seem to have a selection, and really go with the ones you're drawn to. Always pick the stone up that you're drawn to and hold it and feel its energy, and you'll know whether it's the one for you. That's what I do. I'm constantly stood in the crystal shop, sort of holding onto a piece of crystal and sort of feeling it, and you'll feel whether it's right for you, and you'll find yourself being drawn to stones that you need at that particular point as well. It's fascinating. So give it a go. See how it incorporates into your work, into your candle magic, into charms that you can wear, little charm bags with herbs as well. That kind of stuff is very useful that you can do as well. It's really about ticking all the little boxes with the correspondences for the parts of your spells that you're doing. So give it a try. Have fun with it. Let me know how you get on, and by all means drop me a little video response and let me know how what you think. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your crystals, enjoy your spell work, and I hope to speak to you really soon.